Hi everyone, we're back for the fourth day this week, and we're going to be looking at a different book of the Bible. This is the book of Malachi. Malachi was a lesser known prophet. In fact, he's the last prophet in the Old Testament, and not everyone has heard of him, but he's actually a really great challenger of God's people. He wrote about 430 BC in Jerusalem, and he's talking to God's people and trying to wake them up and make them see sense. He reminds God's people that they've been chosen. They are descendants of Jacob, not Esau. Esau was the older brother, should have inherited God's blessing, but actually God gave his blessing to Jacob and all his descendants. So they were definitely chosen people, but were they acting as chosen people? Were they loving God in a way that was fitting after God had poured so much blessing on them? Were they blessing God back? And he really hones in on the sacrificial element of their life, what they are giving to God. And he deliberately talks about the leaders, and are they giving the best animals in their sacrifices, or are they giving blemished animals, ones that are full of disease? And no, that's what he's accusing them of doing. They're basically choosing not to give God the best, the first fruits of their life, but they're giving the ones that they can afford to give, the ones that they don't feel that important. And that's a challenge for all of us. When we give back to God, are we giving from what we can afford, or are we giving our first fruits? Do we work out what our bills are and say, right, when I've paid all the bills, then I can think about giving something to God? Well, the challenge is, and the biblical process is to give God first what is owed to God, and then work out how to pay the bills with what's left. And if you need to adjust your lifestyle to accommodate that type of budget, then so be it. We need to make sacrifices in our life because we have been chosen by God and his love is extended to us. How are we showing our love back to God? And that's really what Malachi is talking about here. He's trying to challenge his people. He's trying to say to them, you'll be given the law, and it's designed to keep you within certain framework of peaceful living and loving God. And if you go outside of the laws that's been given to you, those guidelines, then why would you be surprised that you're missing out on the blessing of God? Because you're not fulfilling this contractual element that God is giving at this stage. Now, we don't live under the law in the same sense, but the guideline, the principle is still true. If we're not dedicating our life to God, if we're not giving him our best, then we're giving out of what we feel we can afford to, the leftovers, the bits that we won't miss. Well, actually, a sacrifice is something that you will miss. It's something you want to give to express love. And if we're not expressing our true love and gratitude to God, why would we want to be called his people? Because to be God's chosen people, to be in this Christian family that we are in, then we need to act in a way that honours God. We need to demonstrate our love for him in our behaviour, in our language, and in our generosity. When we give to God, we need to give with a loving heart, out of our first fruits, not what we feel we can afford out of leftovers. So this week, this day, for the rest of this week, we're going to be focusing on Malachi for this next day, Friday. But today, go away and think about this. What are you doing in your life? Are you expressing this love back to God? And are you honouring him in all the ways that you need to? God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow.